All right, so those are the visuals of the disaster in Uttarakhand yesterday. At least 14 people were killed. 170 are still missing after a glacier break or burst at Joshimath in the Chamoli district, which triggered massive flooding of the Alaknanda and Dhauliganga rivers on Sunday. Many villages were evacuated as floods swept away 5 bridges, damaged homes and the nearby NTPC power plant, and washed away a small hydropower project near Rishiganga. 6 people were injured. The national and state disaster response teams have been deployed, as have teams from the Itbp. The army also sent 6 columns and the Navy 7 diving teams. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Trivendra Singh Rawat has announced a 4 lakh compensation for the family of those who have been killed. He also said teams from the police, army and Itbp as well as the national and state disaster response force were doing their best to save lives of the workers at the sites affected by the disaster. Well, let's go across to Akshay now for all the very latest. Akshay, what can you tell us about the rescue work? Yesterday, they managed to rescue some people from a tunnel. However, more efforts were being put in. More people are trapped.
Well, as far as this rescue work is concerned, it is still ongoing right now because there were 2 tunnels in which the labours of these hydro power plants were trapped. That is near the Rishiganga hydropower project. And out of 1 tunnel, 16 people were rescued yesterday. And another tunnel, there are approximately 30 people, 30 labours that are still trapped inside. The rescue work is still going on. The SDRF teams are deployed. They are trying to dig into the rubble that has in fact accumulated there inside the tunnel. Approximately 150 meter of that rubble has been cleared, but still there is significant work to be done as far as the rescue work of those workers are concerned. In fact, this is also a site of relief that a connection has been established between the rescue teams as well as the people who are trapped inside. But as far as the Rishiganga hydropower project is concerned, it is completely washed away. As far as the other Tapovan power plant project is concerned, it is also absolutely washed away. The state authorities are trying to make a balance by clearing certain dams, by letting the water of Ganges go and creating a vacuum in which the water that was coming yesterday could be balanced out. So the situation right now, though still critical, is under control. As far as the ghats of Rishikesh, Haridwar are concerned, they have completely been evacuated and high alert has been issued by the state government, and it will continue to be done till the time everything is in normal situation and the authorities can establish that there is no further risk of any other outburst of the glaciers that which happened yesterday, Gargi.
Right, Akshay. Also, what are they saying about the reasons for this, glacier burst or breaking, as it's being called, which led to this massive flooding in the river?
Well, as far as the exact reason is concerned, no exact reason has been given because everything is still being established. The authorities are saying that they will have to, in fact, consult with the experts in this matter. They will have to, in fact, see what exactly happened, why it happened before coming to any sort of conclusion. So there, on this topic, everyone is pretty tight-lipped. But this, in fact, is a huge concern because earlier as well, many environmentalists have been raising certain issues as far as the hydropower projects are concerned in mountains and similar sort of situations they have been hinting that might occur. And now that it has, there will be a lot of discussions, there will be a lot of studying as far as why this exactly happened and how to prevent further incidents.
All right, Akshay, they're reporting from Uttarakhand on that disaster that took place. Thanks so much for joining us. We're also joined by Praveen Kumar Tiwari, Commandant of the NDRF. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us this morning. Tell us, what is the latest about the rescue operations? 170 people are still missing.
Yeah, that's there. Actually, our team, which arrived early this morning at 3 o'clock, they have started rescue operation with other agencies working there. And we hope for the waste, and we are doing our best also. We have reached there with all the latest state-of-the-art equipments, and we are sure to do some better job there.
So what are the kind of challenges the rescue teams are facing? Are there fears of more, flooding or some sort of avalanche? Also, it's very, very cold there.
Yeah. Everything is posing great challenge to our rescue operation because terrain is so rugged and temperature dips down to sub-zero temperature. In such condition, it is really difficult to conduct any operation, but with full of confidence and motivation, our team is doing its best. So challenges are there, but we are doing our work with dedication.
Right, sir. Yeah. And about any more further risks right now?
So far, we are doing this operation, taking all the safety measures, and risks are there that in case any this slide comes, that will definitely cause damage. But we are taking all the precautions, and we are doing fine so far.
And sir, a lot of people have been rescued. Camps have been set up. If you could tell us a bit about that.
Actually, we are not looking after that relief camp so far. We are only concerned about rescue operation. Yeah.
Yes. So people are being taken to those camps, sir. Also, when we, on one hand, you have the people trapped in the tunnels. Over 30 people are said to be trapped in these tunnels. But what else? What about the villagers in villages? Like, what can you tell us about the 170 who are said to be missing?
Actually, that figure, I don't know from where this figure came.
I see.
This is not any official data. But yes, so many people are considered to be trapped inside this debris and tunnel. And only one team of NDRF has arrived at the rescue operation site, and rest 4 teams are within minutes or hours they are reaching the incident site, and then definitely we will be in a position to work in a major way, and things will be cleared by that time.
All right, sir. So we just know about these 30 people who are trapped right now, and no information as such about villagers who may have been, also swept away or trapped, etc.
No, so far we are not having any information about villagers who are missing. But yes, this tunnel is really posing a great challenge, and we are doing our work here. So in times, in hours, we will be in a position to do something better.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Tiwari, for speaking to us, and really hoping for good news emerging in the next couple of hours as those rescue operations continue for those 30 people who are trapped inside one such tunnel. Remember, yesterday at least 16 people have pulled out. More teams of the NDRF are on their way. Let's just take a look at what the Prime Minister said yesterday on the Uttarakhand disaster.
जो मां गंगा का उद्गम स्थल है, वो राज्य उत्तराखंड इस समय आपदा का सामना कर रहा है। एक ग्लेशियर टूटने की वजह से वहां नदी का जलस्तर बढ़ गया, नुकसान की खबरें धीरे धीरे आ रही है। मैं उत्तराखंड के मुख्यमंत्री श्री त्रिवेंद्र रावत जी, भारत सरकार के गृह मंत्री श्री, एनडीआरएफ के अफसर, उन सबसे निरंतर संपर्क में हूं। वहां पर राहत और बचाव का कार्य पुरजोश करने का प्रयास चल रहा है। लोगों को सुरक्षित स्थानों पर ले जाया जा रहा है। मेडिकल सुविधाओं में कोई कमी न हो, इस पर जोर दिया जा रहा है। वहां 2-1 दिन पहले ही काफी बर्फबारी भी हुई थी। मौसम काफी ठंडा है। लोगों की परेशानी कम से कम करने के लिए सरकार पूरा प्रयास कर रही है।
अनुमान के तहत मिसिंग 125 के आसपास हो सकते हैं, ज्यादा भी हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि अभी जो कंपनी के लोग हैं वो भी अभी कुछ बता पाने में एकदम, अभी सब लोग रेस्क्यू में लगे हुए हैं। तो ऊपर, क्योंकि ऊपर का प्रोजेक्ट कमीशन हो चुका था, वो काम उस पर चल रहा था, उस पर एक 36 लोगों की 35-36 लोग वहां पर काम कर रहे थे। उनमें से 5-6 लोग उनके सुरक्षित हैं, 2 पुलिस के जवान वो सुरक्षित हैं। तो एक 29-30 के आसपास वहां पर अनुमान है, लेकिन वहां पर डॉक्यूमेंट के कोई बच्चे ही नहीं है कि कागजों के आधार पर कुछ कह सकें।
Well, to talk more about the rescue operation, we're joined by Brigadier Vinod Datta, Senior Consultant, National Institute of Disaster Management. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Absolutely tragic what's happened in Uttarakhand, and very, very challenging for the rescue teams who are on the spot right now. 30 people are trapped in the tunnel.
I couldn't hear you, Gargi.
Right,
could you just...
So we were talking about how challenging this entire rescue operation is. We're seeing visuals this morning. They've managed to move a lot of machinery and equipment, and more teams are on their way. But a very, very challenging situation given that these 30 people are trapped in a tunnel. Yesterday, the good news was that around 16 people were rescued, and hopefully now more will be rescued in the course of the day.
Yeah, Gargi, you know, the kind of operations which have been launched and the challenges which are there, it has been compounded because of the weather conditions and the mudslide which has come, the boulder slide which has come. And if you see the pictures which you are showing on your channel, I mean, most of the tunnels are choked. So the rescue operations are really challenging. The equipment is being inducted in, and what we require is more excavators, more backhoe equipment, and such like, earth-moving equipment. Of course, more teams have been rushed. The Marine Commandos from the Navy has also been pressed into service. The Army, as you were asking, the Commandant NDRF, Army has established a number of relief camps. People have been evacuated. Yes. Medical camps have been pressed. Engineer task force from the Army has been pressed into the service, and they have a lot of earth-moving equipment. The BRO organization also have been moved in. So all resources from, it has been a 360-degree effort by the government, whether it is state or center. And I am sure the government officials are going to address all the issues. And our primary aim is now to take out those 30 people. And as far as casualties are concerned, it is premature to tell because of the flash floods which has come. The dead bodies must have got washed away, and they may not be available in that site, or they may be seen right up to Rudraprayag, Devprayag, or Karan Prayag, or in that area. So it's a very challenging task. But my compliment to the state administration, to the NDRF, to the Indian Army, and SDRF teams, and ITBP also in particular, who have really carried out such kind of operations under such difficult terrain.
Right, and very low temperatures. It's very cold over there as well, sir. So the main rescue work is concentrated in about this tunnel in which 30 people are said to be trapped. The good news was I think they managed to establish some sort of communication with some of those trapped people. But there's this number which is being touted by all in the media about 150, and this is what we're being told. 170 people are missing so far. So is there any other rescue work that is also being done in villages that were along the river? Maybe people are also trapped in debris?
Actually, people were totally taken by surprise, and avalanche was the least expected, though it is one of the avalanche sites. What happens in the army is whenever we are approaching or working in the avalanche prone areas, every individual or every soldier is being given an AVD, avalanche victim detection devices. So that the moment they are buried under snow or under these boulder slide or the landslide, the device starts emitting, signals, so they can be detected. And unfortunately, this scenario was never, thought that it will happen. But notwithstanding that, the NDRF has this kind of equipment, and even the SDRF is also equipped with such kind of search and rescue equipment and the devices where they are going to reach to the people. And let me assure you on this channel that the uniformed organizations are going to leave nobody behind. And this is the ethos of the, at least the Indian Army or the NDRF, that we don't leave anybody behind. And we are going to protect and rescue these people up to the last breath of the people.
Absolutely, sir, and really appreciation for all the teams involved in this rescue work. What's also being talked about is how this area is very ecologically fragile, and there's so many projects that are taking place there. We're still waiting to know exactly what caused this disaster, as in it could have been a glacial lake burst, it could have been a breaking off of the glacier that fell into the river and caused this massive surge of water. And it seems that if this sort of development and continues, that we're going to see more and more disasters like this. That is one of the fears.
Yeah, Gargi, I agree with you that this area is highly vulnerable, and it lies in the seismic zone 5, which is very, very sensitive. And you see, though it will be premature and the studies have already been ordered, but yes, it could be a trigger because of the background seismic activity which is may have taken place, and which resulted in disintegration of this avalanche.
All right. So, well, thank you so much for speaking to us here on the channel today. And we'll continue to track this rescue work that is taking place, which is concentrated on the tunnel in which 30 people are currently trapped. Well, time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you the latest on the vaccination drive. Stay with us. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to reply to the debate on motion of thanks on President Ramnath Kovind's address today. The government's reply to the motion of thanks could take place around 10:30 a.m. or 11 after the question hour. Let's go across to Sunil Prabhu now for more. And Sunil, this comes after the long debate on the motion of thanks on the President's address. And, there have been protests that have dominated and interrupted Parliament continuously.
That's right, Gargi. Unlike in the Rajya Sabha, where there, of course, has been a qualitative and a productive week last week with over 50 hours of discussion and members from all parties participating in this motion of thanks to the President. The Prime Minister expected to speak in Parliament at 10:30 this morning. Of course, the opposition is unhappy and is expected to walk out during the course of the Prime Minister's speech because they are still unhappy with the fact that the farm laws have not been repealed, that the borders of Delhi continue to be sealed with and put with the spikes, as they put it, and barricaded. So it's in that context that the opposition will be walking out while the Prime Minister addresses the Rajya Sabha, but definitely gives an occasion for the Prime Minister to not only speak about the farm issues, which he has been speaking consistently ever since he enacted this through a cabinet decision and an ordinance in June last year, but also an opportunity to speak on a host of other issues which have exercised the minds of the opposition and which have been addressed in the presidential address. Most importantly, of course, as you're well aware, till now, on the issue of China and the backlash that has taken place in terms of our line of actual control, there has been no discussion, no word about China from the Prime Minister, apart from the brief comments which he had made at the all-party meeting, which he had convened after those ingress and the demand for status quo ante to be restored in that line of actual control in the eastern Ladakh sector. So we'll have to wait and see whether the Prime Minister takes this opportunity to tell Parliament, because we have had no discussion on an important issue like this because of citing of national security reasons.
All right, Sunil, thanks so much for joining us with all those details. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whose silence on the Jai Shri Ram slogan episode during his last visit to Bengal was questioned by the state's ruling Trinamool Congress, made his position very clear on Sunday. He said Bengal will show the Ram card to Mamata soon. He also alleged she was quiet in the face of international conspiracies against the country.
The venue of his first election rally, a challenge to Mamata Banerjee. At Haldia, right next to Nandigram, from where she will be fighting this election. And the idiom of his attack against her and her party, tailored to resonate with the people of Bengal. Football, but with a googly.
बंगाल फुटबॉल से प्यार करने वाला राज्य है। टीएमसी ने एक के बाद एक कई फाउल कर लिए हैं। मिस गवर्नेंस का फाउल, विरोधियों पर हमले और हिंसा का फाउल, बंगाल के लोगों का पैसा लूटने का फाउल। इसलिए अब बहुत ही जल्द बंगाल तृणमूल को राम कार्ड दिखाने जा रहा है।
The Ram card is the signal of the Prime Minister's support for those who taunted Mamata Banerjee with the controversial Jai Shri Ram slogan when he last met her at Netaji's birth anniversary. To all this, the Prime Minister added a new charge against Mamata Banerjee: silence in the face of what he called an international conspiracy to malign India.
इन दिनों भारत को बदनाम करने के लिए कैसे कैसे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय षड्यंत्र सामने आ रहे हैं, कैसी कैसी साजिशें खुल रही है। लेकिन क्या आपने भारत के खिलाफ इन षड्यंत्रों पर, इन साजिशों पर दीदी के मुंह से एक भी वाक्य सुना है क्या? देश इन षड्यंत्रों का पूरी ताकत से जवाब देगा।
The Prime Minister's attack on Mamata Banerjee, no holds barred. The Trinamool's response, expected to be equally sharp, has been put off for now out of respect, the party said, to the Uttarakhand tragedy.
हमारे नेत्री ममता बंदोपाध्याय और तृणमूल कांग्रेस उन सभी परिवारों के साथ है हमारा मन और हृदय दोनों। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी जिस मुद्दा उन्होंने सिखाया, हमारी पार्टी की तरफ से ये प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस होगा और हर विषय पर हमारी पार्टी को जो कहना है हम कहेंगे।
A pause in the battle for Bengal, but it's sure to be short-lived. In Haldia with G.D. Shankar, Mamata Banerjee, NDTV.
In other news now, former AIADMK leader VK Sasikala is returning to Tamil Nadu today after completing her quarantine in Bengaluru. She'll be staying at her niece's residence in T Nagar area of Chennai. Posters welcoming Sasikala have been put up in the T Nagar area ahead of her return today. Ms. Sasikala was discharged from Bengaluru's Victoria Hospital on the 31st of January. Now, the AIADMK is jittery ahead of her return. Let's go across to Sam Daniel now for more. And Sam, what is the latest you can tell us?
Well, at the moment, if things go the way the Sasikala camp has planned, Gargi should reach Chennai post-noon, and they consciously say they're avoiding any kind of disruption to traffic, following a tacit warning by Tamil Nadu police that they should not indulge in crowd gathering or disrupting traffic. And they expect a grand reception in between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu at Hosur, the border, as she enters Tamil Nadu. After which we understand the convoy could be drastically made smaller because Tamil Nadu police have restricted a longer convoy. And politically speaking, she's returning to Chennai after 4 years of serving jail sentence following her conviction in the disproportionate assets case in which former Chief Minister Jayalalitha was the prime accused. And the AIADMK here now has complained against Sasikala using the AIADMK flag, and her message is she went to jail as AIADMK chief, following which EPS, who she handpicked as chief minister, and his deputy, who he unseated, patched up and ousted her from party. But her side doesn't approve of that particular ouster, and she regards herself as the AIADMK chief, which the ruling AIADMK has complained against. And elections are just 4 months away, and she represents a powerful Tevar community. In the 2019 Lok Sabha polls, the AIADMK suffered a near rout. Only one seat they were able to win, and we'll have to wait and watch what kind of an impact will she make, whether these two parties will come together or will they fight separately. But certainly the ruling AIADMK is rattled, and we'll have to wait and see whether she'll be able to draw any MLAs or even ministers, high-profile leaders to her side, which could make which could mean that she has still a larger hole. But otherwise, her party cadres say they would abide by the police instruction and they will not indulge in any kind of disruption to traffic or public. And her plan is to return to Chennai before the peak hour traffic would begin in Chennai or outside other parts of Tamil Nadu.
All right, Sam, so the AIADMK not wanting her to use the party flag, but she's using it nonetheless on her vehicle there. Thanks so much for joining us with those details. News from Madhya Pradesh now. The police registered a case against 8 upper caste men in Mandsaur for allegedly trying to pull down a scheduled caste groom from a horse which he was riding as part of his marriage ceremony in Shamgarh. While crossing the Goradia area, the accused tried to pull down Deepak Meghwal. Let's go across to Anurag now for more. And Anurag, again and again these kind of incidents come up, which just goes to show how much those caste differences still remain. Upper caste men trying to pull down a lower caste groom from his horse.
Yes, Gargi, this has happened. We have seen few days back in Mandsaur only, and again in Shamgarh area. These visuals are coming in where upper caste men tried to pull down a Dalit groom, Deepak Meghwal, from, during his marriage ceremony. But fortunately, police was present there and they have registered a case against 8 of the accused under sections 323, 294, 506, 147, 149 and different SC Act also. This area where this particular incident happened is also the Cabinet Minister Hardeep Singh Dung comes from this area, and as per the FIR, this happened at around 8:30 when near the Goradia area when the marriage ceremony of Deepak Meghwal. That time only few upper caste men from that particular village stopped Deepak Meghwal and their relatives, and they started abusing them. They also hit them, and after that they registered the FIR in Shamgarh police station.
All right, Anurag, thanks so much for joining us with details of this very, very shameful incident. A Navy sailor died after his alleged kidnappers set him on fire. Sources say that Suraj Kumar Dubey, who had been posted in Tamil Nadu's Coimbatore, had been kidnapped from the Chennai airport earlier this week, and he died from injuries in a barbaric incident. His attackers set him on fire after they believed they would not receive the ransom of 10 lakh that they had demanded.
हमने अलग-अलग टीम तैयार की थी और ये अलग-अलग टीम ने इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया है, फैमिली के साथ इंक्वायरी किया है, उनके बैचमेट्स, उनके ऑफिसर्स, आईएनएस अग्रणी के कमांडिंग ऑफिसर, आईएनएस अश्विनी के मेडिकल ऑफिसर्स, ये सब लोगों के साथ हमने इंक्वायरी की है।
बयान दे के मरा है कि मुझे अपहरण करके 3 दिन चेन्नई में रखा है, पैसा मांग रहा था। अच्छा। और इसके बाद यहाँ पर चेन्नई में से यहाँ पालघर में ला के जंगल में जला दिया गया।
Hello and welcome. You are watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Rawat and our top story is the Uttarakhand disaster where at least 14 people were killed and 170 still missing after a glacier break or burst at Joshimath in Uttarakhand's Chamoli district has triggered massive flooding of the Alaknanda and Dolliganga rivers on Sunday. Many villages were evacuated as floods swept away 5 bridges, damaged homes and the nearby NDTV power plant and washed away a small hydropower project near Rishiganga. 6 people were injured. National and state disaster response teams have been deployed, as have teams from the Itbp. The army has sent 6 columns and the Navy 7 diving teams as well. Yesterday from the Tapovan project, in a tunnel in which people were trapped, they were pulled out. However, 30 remain trapped in a second tunnel where those rescue efforts are now centered. The Uttarakhand Chief Minister announced a 4 lakh compensation for the family of those who have been killed.
आज सुबह से फिर से हमने अपने जो सर्च ऑपरेशन है सेकेंड टनल के लिए उसको इंटेंसिफाई कर दिया है। लगभग 30 लोगों के वहां फंसे होने की हमें सूचना है और हमारे लगभग 300 जवान आईटीबीपी के वहां पर लगातार टनल को क्लियर करने में लगे हुए हैं जिससे लोगों को वहां से निकाला जा सके। जो स्थानीय प्रशासन की तरफ से सूचना है उसमें इस प्रकार से बताया गया है कि लगभग 170 लोग इस आपदा में मिसिंग हैं। 12 लोगों को कल आईटीबीपी की टीम ने एक टनल से निकाल लिया था। ये 30 लोगों की दूसरी टनल है जहां पर कि ये लोग अभी फंसे हुए हैं। साथ ही साथ कल शाम तक 7 डेड बॉडीज मिली थी अलग अलग इलाकों में और 6 लोग इंजर्ड हुए हैं। आवश्यकतानुसार और टीमों को भी वहां पर अगर जरूरत पड़ती है तो भेजा जाएगा। फिलहाल हमारा पूरा फोकस है कि हम लोग टनल में जो लोग फंसे हुए हैं उनको निकालें, बिकॉज उनके जीवित होने की संभावना है और उन पर पूरा फोकस अभी हम लोग कर रहे हैं कि उनको पहले हम वहां से निकालें।
Well, as far as this rescue work is concerned, it is still ongoing right now because there were 2 tunnels in which the labours of these hydro power plants were trapped. That is near the Rishiganga hydropower project, and out of one tunnel, 16 people were rescued yesterday, and another tunnel there are approximately 30 people, 30 labours that are still trapped inside. The rescue work is still going on. The SDRF teams are deployed. They are trying to dig into the rubble that has in fact accumulated there inside the tunnel. Approximately 150 meter of that rubble has been cleared, but still there is significant work to be done as far as the rescue work of those workers are concerned. In fact, this is also a side of relief that a connection has been established between the rescue teams as well as the people who are trapped inside. But as far as the Rishiganga hydropower project is concerned, it is completely washed away. As far as the other Tapovan power plant project is concerned, it is also absolutely washed away. The state authorities are trying to make a balance by clearing certain dams, by letting the water of Ganges go and creating a vacuum in which the water that was coming yesterday could be balanced out. So the situation right now, though still critical, is under control. As far as the ghats of Rishikesh Haridwar are concerned, they have completely been evacuated and high alert has been issued by the state government, and it will continue to be done till the time everything is in normal situation and the authorities can establish that there is no further risk of any other outburst of the glaciers that which happened yesterday.
All right, now joining us on the phone line, Vivek Kumar Pandey, spokesperson of the ITBP. Thank you so much for speaking to us here at NDTV. Sir, what is the latest you can tell us about the rescue operations currently centered around this second tunnel in which 30 people are trapped?
Yes, from the early morning we have intensified our operations. Some JCBs and earth movers have been digging the slush inside the tunnel. We have reached to approximately 25 meters inside the tunnel, but slush is accumulated in a manner that it's very difficult to remove those. But there are likelihood that we can get the people inside alive because there are certain, turns and there are certain elements which are, depicting that they may be alive. We are discussing the designs and the map of the tunnel with the authorities, and we are hopeful that today there will be a breakthrough inside the tunnel.
Right, absolutely. Hopefully, they're in some pockets or they have some air pockets there in which they are currently the 30 people who are trapped. Sir, also about, the rest of the areas, any other fears and is there any other rescue work in any villages which are downriver?
Yes, we are looking for the, if there are dead bodies or something, but the search operation has been, scattered to various places. There are 10 to 11 places where we are looking for the people. Right now, the main focus is for this tunnel because there are likelihood of saving those 30 lives. Otherwise, most of the people are either missing or, they are dead. So, our first priority is to saving lives.
Right, and these numbers, sir, that are being said around 170, it said that they are that many of them were workers who were employed at the NTPC plant and at Rishi Ganga project. So is that the number that we know so far, and not much news about villages?
Yes, villages, the locals have, less casualty because they are mostly laborers of the NTPC. Initially, the Rishi Ganga dam was devastated. 28 people were feared missing. Then 142 people were feared missing from Tapovan. So all of them were probably washed away. We are looking into every angle. Last night was very, very crucial. We actually searched the entire banks also. Couldn't get, the traces. Today also we have started from the early morning. But still those 170 have been, said to be missing. Some 14 dead bodies have been recovered as per the local administration till now.
Right, so some incredibly brave work by all the rescue teams. What are the challenges that you're facing there? We do know that the temperatures, of course, are it's very cold there. Even at night, it went to sub-zero.
Yes, it's very, very difficult because in the evening, the water bodies in the mountains goes up. So the water level has been rising in the evening. But right now, the water level is normal. The weather is okay, fine, and it's a bright sunny day. So we hope that by this evening we can get some breakthrough, and difficulties are there, of course, but we are doing our best. We are trained for that, and we are confident that we will be saving more lives by this evening.
All right, thank you so much, Vivek Kumar Pandey there, the spokesperson of the ITBP, telling us about the challenges being faced by the rescue teams, and hopefully we will have some sort of good news in some time. 30 people are trapped in that second tunnel. Here's what one of the officials on the ground had to say. And there you can see the kind of damage that took place due to the surge of water and the dam that was broken. In fact, several projects, and it's caused 5 bridges also to be washed away. So, really crores worth of damage done by this surge in the river. Yesterday, of course, 170 people are missing. And let's just listen in on the latest on the rescue operations.
देखिए, मैं 2-3 बातें स्पष्ट करना चाहूंगा। कुछ लोगों ने मीडिया में ज्यादा पैनिक फैला दिया है, उसकी आवश्यकता नहीं है। स्थिति ये है कि कल एक बार का वन टाइम हादसा था। ये जो ग्लेशियर टूटा, उसके साथ पूरा पहाड़ टूटा, बोल्डर्स आए, मलबा आया, और वो उसने जो रैनी प्रोजेक्ट था, रैनी पावर प्रोजेक्ट, उसको पूरा बहा दिया। और डाउन स्ट्रीम 5 किलोमीटर आगे तपोवन था, उस पर बड़ा इम्पैक्ट किया। पूरा तो नहीं टूटा, पूरा नहीं बहा। तो ये 2 जगह इसका मेजर डैमेज हुआ है। जो होना था कल हो चुका, उसमें आज कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, पहली बार। और इसको जो है, पहले प्रोजेक्ट से 32 लोग मिसिंग हैं, दूसरे प्रोजेक्ट से 121 लोग मिसिंग हैं। ये अभी तक हमारे पास फिगर्स आई हैं। इनमें से 10 डेड बॉडी रिकवर हो गई हैं, 3 डेड बॉडी तपोवन से और 7 डेड बॉडी कर्णप्रयाग तक के रास्ते में। हमारी टीमें लगी हुई हैं खोजने में, आगे अगर कोई इस तरह की बॉडीज मिलती हैं तो। तपोवन प्रोजेक्ट पे 2 टनल्स थी, छोटी टनल से कल 12 लोगों को बचाया गया है और वो पूरी तरह सुरक्षित है, उनको कोई बड़ी इंजरी नहीं है। जो बड़ी टनल है उसको खोलने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है और वो बहुत लंबी टनल है, उसमें 150 मीटर तक हमारे लोग, कल एसडीआरएफ के लोग, इनके कमांडेंट भी हमारे साथ गए थे, वो जो है और आर्मी के लोग वो 150 मीटर तक गए क्रॉल करके, उसके आगे जाना असंभव था। और वो इतनी बड़ी टनल है तो उसका पूरा मलबा बाहर निकाला जा रहा है, वो मशीनों के साथ निकाला जा रहा है। उसमें भी आर्मी की टीमें लगी हुई हैं और उसको मुझे उम्मीद है कि वो शाम तक वो खुल जाएगा। तो जो मैं 2-3 बातें स्पष्ट करना चाहूंगा, यहाँ हेली रेस्क्यू के लिए भी कुछ नहीं है। दूसरा, ऊपर के पुल टूट गए तो ऊपर मलारी तक कुल 13 गांव हैं, तो वहां पे जो जिला प्रशासन है उसकी मदद से कोई अगर उनको हेल्प की जरूरत होगी, उनको कोई रेस्क्यू की जरूरत नहीं है, कोई हेल्प की जरूरत होगी तो वो उन तक पहुंचाई जा रही है। तीसरा, जो मिसिंग पर्सन हैं इनका मिलान किया जा रहा है, जो डेड बॉडीज खोजने हैं उनको खुजवाने में हमारी टीमें लगी हुई हैं। चौथा, इस टनल को खोलने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है। इसमें भी मेरी जो सोच है कि अगर पहला झटका जो लोग अगर वो झेल गए होंगे जो थे अंदर, तो वो अगर दब गए तो दब गए, जो बचे होंगे तो अभी भी बचे होंगे, ठीक है, क्योंकि टनल लंबी है, 2.5 किलोमीटर लंबी टनल है, ऊपर नीचे की। जनता से मैं यही अपील करूंगा कि वो किसी तरह के पैनिक में ना आए और प्रशासन को, पुलिस को, आर्मी की हमारी सब टीमों को जो लगी हैं, SDRF, NDRF, ITBP, उनको अपना काम करने दें।
Well, to talk more about, what this now means, of course, after this disaster took place, fingers are being pointed, and once again, the issue of dams in Uttarakhand are being talked about, how this is an ecologically very fragile area, how there's a very ambitious road project as well there. And while for the moment, we're still waiting to find out whether it was a glacier lake burst, whether it was a glacier break that fell into this river and led to the surge of water. However, again, concerns, of course, about the projects in the area. Well, to talk more about this, we're joined by Ashwini Dubey, who is an advocate with the Supreme Court. And Ashwini, once again, fingers being pointed about the many dams and power projects that are there in Uttarakhand, not just, by environmentalists. Even Uma Bharti spoke about how she has been opposing dams on all the tributaries of the Ganga in Uttarakhand.
With great solidarity with the people who lost their life, Gargi, and with the deep condolences of the families, this unfortunate incident has happened. Now, yes, of course, very rightly you pointed out that sustainable development is the need of the hour. Check and balance is the need of the hour, and that dam or any project, if it being started, that has to be ecologically balanced, as well as that has to be in accordance with the norms which has been made by the Government of India and Pollution Control Board and Environment Ministry. But now in this, what has happened, the glacier, as of now, what the reports has come, that glacier water pocket burst is the reason behind it. It's not the man-made calamity, it's a natural disaster one. And the second, we have to learn the lesson. What happened in Singrauli, in Reliance South Shasal Power Plant, many lives lost. In Tuticorin, what has happened in Vijayawada gas leak case. And if you'll see that those, we have to see, we have to read, we have to conduct a study. Government is about to conduct a study as per which if anything is contrary to the law is being followed in practice or in its true states, then the guilty must be punished. This is one. And the second, as of now, the ITBP as well as the ITBP and local administration and the Air Force all are on rescue. They are trying to save the lives as well as also trying to recover the dead bodies. So let's wait. And until and unless, what is the need of the hour? Need of the hour is that in future we should avoid, the government must ensure that these kind of things are avoided and life of the people could be saved. So any project, any dam, development is the need of the hour, yeah, of course. But anything, if it takes place, that has to be in concern with the government norms and rules and regulations.
Right, but it also shows how in the face of natural disasters, all these projects just washed away. The dam project as well as 5 bridges have been washed away. Well, we'll continue this discussion after this short break. We'll also be joined by Akash Vashisht, who is a lawyer and environmentalist. So let's continue this after a short break. So what caused the Uttarakhand disaster yesterday? Was it a glacial lake burst or an avalanche? There will be an aerial survey of the area today. Yesterday, we spoke to Dr. Mohammad Farooq Azam, Assistant Professor Glaciology and Hydrology at IIT Indore, on what he thinks caused this sudden surge of water.
This is very rare actually, because specifically in this particular time, we are in February and everything is in frozen state up there around 4,000 meters. So I think it's very rare to have some break of ice from the glacier, but it is possible that there is some snow avalanche that have triggered some glacier. There are some hanging glaciers in the valley, so maybe there is lots of snow because we have received some snow over last weeks, and that snow have triggered some hanging glacier break, and then that also triggered some landslide possibly, and that came down in the valley.
What is a hanging glacier?
Hanging glaciers are normally, these are not the typical valley glaciers we have, like Trishul is one of the valley glaciers. So hanging glaciers are some glaciers which are small glaciers relatively, and they are hanging in very steep slopes. So they are normally, more fragile than the regular glaciers. And if there is some load of snow over these glaciers, they may break.
Professor, have temperatures been irregular this winter in that area?
I don't know, because we have to investigate the temperature trends, but it is very, very much expected that we are having more snow because, because of climate change, we are having more intense events of snowfall as well as rainfall, and because of climate change, the air is warmer now, and the temperature of snow is normally, close to the 0 degrees centigrade, rather than it's a very, very cold snow, having a temperature of -6 or -5, something like that. So possibly there is the wet snow, and wet snow has more chances of avalanches or snow avalanches basically.
All right, so we still don't know exactly what has caused this flooding to take place. As you can see, there are many theories that it could be a glacial lake, that it could be an avalanche, and there will be an aerial survey today. But also the larger picture of projects in Uttarakhand and whether we're going to see more of these sort of disasters taking place. We're also now joined by Akash Vashish, lawyer and environmentalist, and Ashwini Dubey. They're still with us. Akash, earlier I was speaking to Ashwini, who said that, yes, this is a fragile area and rescue operations are on, but that this is not a man-made disaster. This was a natural disaster that will occur, and that, yes, we need to be more careful with the projects, but at the same time, we do need development.
Yes, if you happen to see yesterday's event, it would not be correct to entirely, label it as a natural disaster. It is equally a man-made disaster as well, because in yesterday's, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
In yesterday's incident, all the laborers, the entire toll was that of laborers who were working on the hydropower project, at the site. So, had that project, had that dam, had that hydropower, project not been there, the casualties wouldn't have occurred. It makes us, ponder that, we have hardly learnt any lesson from the 2013 disaster. Now, in the wake of 2013 disaster, the Ravi Chopra committee that was appointed by the Supreme Court had very, very expressly and categorically stated that the magnitude of that disaster was multiplied by the structures and the constructions which were, including the hydropower projects which were there. Had those not been there, the casualties would have been much, much, much lesser. So we have hardly learned any lesson from that incident, and hydropower projects continue to be in full pace and in full force. To add to that, I would say that, in 2016, there was a Ganga notification, a Ganga authorities order came into, it was notified by the Environment Ministry under the Environment Protection Act, which talks about clearing the constructions, the illegal encroachments on rivers, on water channels, on waterways and water courses. None of the provisions of that Ganga notification has been implemented till date. It was notified in 2016, but we are in 2021. Not a single provision has been implemented of the Ganga authorities order. Secondly, the river regulation zone, which has been there. I mean, it is all. That was prepared. In fact, the draft was prepared by the center and was circulated to the states for their discussions. That is called as a river regulation zone, RRZ, under the Environment Protection Act. Even that has not been notified. Neither that notification has taken place, nor a draft bill of that kind has been placed before the Parliament by the government.
All right, Ashwini, so your response to that, Akash, also saying that, given that, yes, there will be these sort of disasters here, if we have these projects, it just compounds the extent of the disaster. When it happens, the loss of life is so much more because of these projects. The 170 people who are missing are all workers on these projects.
Gargi, I have three things to say. One, if the rampant construction activities are the outcome of this disaster, then of course the persons who are responsible behind this, they should be punished. One. And the second, if there is a study which suggests that the rivers Alaknanda, Bhagirathi and Mandakini are in the steep slopes, and in those areas the construction activities should be stopped, and those recommendations have been ignored. Because I was reading through the previous recommendations as well as the expert committee scientists' opinions and the expert committee's recommendations. If those has been ignored, and this is the reason behind this glacier water pocket, then nobody can justify. But only thing is that the development is the one thing, and the check and balance and sustainable development is the other thing. If the laws have not been followed, then the guilty who has violated the law must be punished. But this, as of now, jumping to the conclusion and reaching on the conclusion that this is just because of the rampant construction activity will not be there. That the government, with all support system, be it the ITBP, be it the Air Force or the State Disaster Relief Forum or NDRF or other rescue teams, they are there. Let's wait for this thing, and we expect from the government that if any project is not ecologically sound, and that is contrary to the recommendations of the Environment Ministry and the other experts, then those projects should not be taken back. What has happened? Because we have to learn from the past. If this is the repeat of the 2013, then of course these activities should be stopped. But at the same time, we have to see it is not happening in one part. What happened in Singrauli? I only discussed with you were there, Gargi, when we discussed the Singrauli Reliance power plant, which the fly ash dike breezed and the lives minor children swept away with the fly ash dike, and the Tuticorin and the Vijayawada. These are the things where the government must think about that how can they stop all these activities so that the development as well as the sustainability as well as the life of the people can be saved.
Right. Well, I'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Akash and Ashwini, for joining us. And I'm sure these conversations will continue. And it's sad that it happens every time a disaster takes place. We must be constantly alert to damages to our environment and these kind of risks that we've seen in Uttarakhand with this flooding, and over 170 people are currently missing. Well, time for us to slip into a short break. We'll be back with more. It's a protest day number 5 and number 75 for the farmers' protest. Now, the family of Navdeep Kaur, the 23-year-old scheduled caste labour activist who's been jailed for protesting against the contentious farm laws, is now mulling moving the High Court of Punjab and Haryana against her arrest. Her family has alleged that she was sexually assaulted by the police while in custody. According to reports, Kaur was arrested on January 12th on charges of allegedly assaulting police on duty during the protest at Delhi's borders against the new agricultural laws. She was at the Singhu border. Now, the police have denied all these allegations being circulated, they say, on social media platforms about this illegal detention and harassment, terming it as an afterthought. Navdeep's arrest has caught global attention as well after Meena Harris, the niece of US Vice President Kamala Harris, also tweeted seeking her release. Here's what her sister had to say, and also what the police, the Sonipat SP, had to say on her arrest.
उसके ऊपर जो एफआईआर है या बाकी मजदूर अधिकार संगठन के साथियों के ऊपर जो एफआईआर है वो वापस ली जाए, और जो उसके ऊपर वायलेंस हुई है कस्टडी के अंदर, उसके प्राइवेट पार्ट्स पे भी चोटें हैं जो पुरुष कर्मचारियों द्वारा उसको थाने के अंदर पीटा गया है, तो उनके ऊपर भी कार्रवाई की जाए। क्योंकि जो किसी भी महिला को अगर आप अरेस्ट करते हैं, चाहे कोई भी जुर्म हो, आपका कोई पुलिस का कोई राइट नहीं है उसको टॉर्चर करने का, खास करके पुरुष कर्मचारियों जो टॉर्चर किया जाता है, तो उसको हम सेक्सुअल वायलेंस ही बोल रहे हैं कि आपको इस तरीके से टॉर्चर किया गया, तो उनके ऊपर कार्रवाई की जानी चाहिए। और हम मांग करते हैं कि जल्दी से जल्दी नवदीप को रिहा किया जाए।
ये 25 नंबर एफआईआर के अंदर ये गिरफ्तार हुई थी ये लेडी, और उसी दिन हमने जिस दिन गिरफ्तार किया उसी दिन ही इनको कोर्ट में पेश करके जुडिशियल भेज दिया था, और स्पेसिफिकली हमने इनका डिटेल्ड मेडिकल एग्जामिनेशन उसी दिन करवाया था। और मेरे पास कॉपी है, मैं पीआरओ साहब से कहूंगा कि के माध्यम से वो एक सारे पत्रकार साथियों को भी दे दें। उसमें बिल्कुल क्लियरली उन्होंने अपनी हैंड राइटिंग के अंदर लिखा हुआ है कि मेरे साथ कोई भी किसी भी टाइप का कोई हरासमेंट नहीं किया गया, और बड़ी डिटेल्ड तरीके से उन्होंने लिख भी रखा है। डॉक्टर के सामने उन्होंने ये एक्सेप्ट कर रखा है। तो ऐसी भी जो एलिगेशंस लगाए जा रहे हैं, मैं उनका बिल्कुल सरेआम खंडन करता हूं।
Well, let's go across to NDTV's Mohammed Ghazali now for more. So, Ghazali, the family alleging she's not getting a bail again and again, and also Nordeep Kaur has now been some kind of a rallying point with people from abroad also tweeting about her incarceration. What's the latest you can tell us?
See, Navdeep is facing 3 FIRs. On the day on January 12, the local industry association had filed a case against her because they were demanding wages. The situation turned ugly outside one of the industries, one of the factories where they were working. They were demanding wages. The police came. There was a bit of commotion there, and after which she was arrested. After the FIR was registered by one of the representatives of the industry association, what we have been told that 2 other FIRs for the same incident involving pressing the charges for extortion, criminal conspiracy and attempt to murder have been present. Since then, in the last hearing for the bail application, the local court in Sonipat district, the judge was quoted to be saying that she is booked for serious charges, so we can't give her bail. That is why today also a bail hearing is scheduled today in the Sessions Court in Sonipat district. So the family will wait and see if she is given bail today, as they will approach the Punjab and Haryana High Court. Now, she has become a rallying point certainly because she is a Dalit labor activist hailing from Muktsar district in Punjab but was working in Sonipat. Her elder sister is studying in DU and nobody has spoken about her arrest since it happened on January 12th. So now many organizations from Punjab, from Haryana, they are now raising this voice. The lawyers association, some lawyers association from Delhi, from Haryana, they are also studying her case. So we will see what happens today, whether she is given bail or not, and then the family will approach the High Court and the case will proceed from there. Meanwhile, police has completely denied the allegation of sexual or physical assault under custody.
All right, Ghazali, thanks so much for joining us there with all the very latest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will reply to the debate on motion of thanks on President Ramnath Kovind's address today. The government's reply to the motion of thanks will take place at around 10:40 a.m. Now, during the sitting, the House witnessed a 15-hour debate on the motion of thanks on the President's address. The protest by farmers also dominated the agenda of Parliament in the first week. Earlier, we spoke to Sunil for more.
Unlike in the Rajya Sabha, where there, of course, has been a qualitative and a productive week last week with over 50 hours of discussion and members from all parties participating in this motion of thanks to the President. The Prime Minister expected to speak in Parliament at 10:30 this morning. Of course, the opposition is unhappy and is expected to walk out during the course of the Prime Minister's speech because they are still unhappy with the fact that the farm laws have not been repealed, that the borders of Delhi continue to be sealed with and put with the spikes, as they put it, and barricaded. So it's in that context that the opposition will be walking out while the Prime Minister addresses the Rajya Sabha, but definitely gives an occasion for the Prime Minister to not only speak about the farm issues, which he has been speaking consistently ever since he enacted this through a cabinet decision and an ordinance in June last year, but also an opportunity to speak on a host of other issues which have exercised the minds of the opposition and which have been addressed in the presidential address. Most importantly, of course, as you're well aware, till now on the issue of China and the backlash that has taken place in terms of our line of actual control, there has been no discussion, no word about China from the Prime Minister, apart from the brief comments which he had made at the all-party meeting which he had convened after those ingress and the demand for status quo ante to be restored in that line of actual control in the eastern Ladakh sector. So we'll have to wait and see whether the Prime Minister takes this opportunity to tell Parliament, because we have had no discussion on an important issue like this because of citing of national security reasons.
Now, Prime Minister Modi visited Assam for the second time in the last fortnight and he claimed that a global conspiracy was afoot to defame the country's tea industry and that no one behind it will be spared. Now, the word conspiracy is being interpreted as a veiled reference to the toolkit shared by Swedish teen environmental activist Greta Thunberg, where she said that India's yoga and chai image should be disrupted as part of the pushback against the contentious farm laws.
देश को बदनाम करने के लिए साजिश रचने वाले इस स्तर तक पहुंच गए हैं कि भारत की चाय को भी नहीं छोड़ रहे।
Conspiracy is being hatched to malign India and especially Indian tea.
भारत माता की।
Prime Minister Modi said at his second rally in 2 weeks in pole-bound Assam. The comment coming amidst furor and the Delhi police's probe into a toolkit tweeted by climate activist Greta Thunberg, which allegedly advised people on how to support protesting farmers, and the police had claimed even mentioned yoga and tea.
कुछ दस्तावेज सामने आए हैं जिनसे खुलासा होता है कि विदेश में बैठी कुछ ताकतें चाय के साथ भारत की जो पहचान जुड़ी है उस पर हमला करने की फिराक में है।
There was a massive turnout at Dekya Joli. It was the first ever prime ministerial visit to the historic town where 13 people were martyred during the Quit India movement. The Prime Minister laid the foundation of 2 medical colleges and the Assam Mala project, where 2,500 kilometers of state highways and internal roads will be upgraded. He also made a new promise to the people of pole-bound Assam.
मेरा एक सपना है हर राज्य में कम से कम एक मेडिकल कॉलेज, कम से कम एक टेक्निकल कॉलेज वो मातृभाषा में पढ़ाना शुरू करें कि असम में भी एक मेडिकल कॉलेज स्थानीय भाषा में हम शुरू करेंगे, एक टेक्निकल कॉलेज स्थानीय भाषा में शुरू करेंगे और धीरे धीरे ये बढ़ेगा, कोई रोक नहीं पाएगा उसको।
The Congress hit out, saying the Prime Minister was alleging a global conspiracy to hide the government's failure.
But an excuse for the complete failure of the BJP government to address the needs of the workers in the tea plantations. Instead of providing accountability, he only tried to serve an excuse of this global conspiracy.
The BJP is going full throttle into the Assam elections. A day ago, the finance minister had reached out to tea workers with direct benefit transfers. Today, the Prime Minister went a step ahead, alleging a conspiracy against India's tea and saying every tea worker will seek answers from those political parties behind the conspirators. With Ratnadeep Chaudhary, Sarah Jacob, NDTV.
Now, former AIADMK leader VK Sasikala is returning to Tamil Nadu today after completing a quarantine in Bengaluru. She will be staying at her niece's place in T Nagar area of Chennai. Protesters welcoming Sasikala have also put up posters in the T Nagar area. Now, Sasikala was discharged from Bengaluru's Victoria Hospital on January 31st. The AIADMK is jittery ahead of her return. They've warned of riots and they've also opposed her use of the flag on her vehicle. There you can see the AIADMK flag is being used by Sasikala on her car. Her argument is that when she went to jail, she was an AIADMK member and now she will continue to use the flag. However, the AIADMK has opposed this. They're also jittery about what it means for Tamil Nadu politics. Also, how big of a welcome will there be for her? It is being planned as she crosses the border from Karnataka into Tamil Nadu in Hosur, and later towards the evening she will be reaching Chennai as well. So there you can see VK Sasikala now returning to Tamil Nadu today, returning to Chennai, and the AIADMK extremely jittery, even warning that there could be a threat to the public law and order, that there could even be riots with her return, and they will be looking to see how big of a welcome Sasikala gets when she arrives back in Tamil Nadu. There you can see Sasikala using the flag of the AIADMK despite their opposition to this. Let's go across to Sam Daniel now for more. And Sam, what is the latest? Where has she reached? And a big welcome planned in Hosur when she crosses the border.
That's right. We understand she is nearing that Hosur area of Tamil Nadu between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, where a large number of her supporters have gathered to give her a grand.
The length of the convoy would drastically come down by the Tamil Nadu police advising not to use that either crowd or disruptive after this. If everything goes well, Sasikala, her supporters say she can be reaching the night so slow before the restart traffic will start in the night. And it comes after 4 years of
After 4 years of jail sentence serving after her conviction in the disproportionate assets case, elections are just 4 months away, and that's why her timing of return is quite significant, and she conveys a strong message by sporting the AIADMK flag on her car. She went to jail when she was the boss of the AIADMK as General Secretary after Jayalalitha's death, but after that, a lot have changed. She was ousted by Chief Minister EPS and his deputy OPS, who patched up and threw her out, which her side is challenging now. We'll have to wait and see what kind of impact will she be able to make once she reaches Chennai. And she's yet to speak anything in terms of politics, but certainly after her jailing, the party suffered a rout in the Lok Sabha elections, and now assembly polls are due in May.
All right, Sam, thanks so much for joining us there with all the very latest. So Sasikala will be crossing over to Tamil Nadu in a few hours from now. Well, time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you all the international stories. Stay with us.